Young people won't remember this, but people my age around will. Who remembers Ann Landers or Dear Abby? Who remembers them? Now, they used to be columnists. There was, Dear Abby was in the Detroit News, and Ann Landers was in the Free Press, remember? That's the newspaper. You young people gotta Google that. You won't know what that is. Remember that? They were advice columnists. People would write letters, you better Google that. They would write letters and ask questions. And they'd ask questions about what can I do about my husband or about my wife or about my kids or about my parents or about my coworkers, all kinds of relational problems. They'd write these letters. Well, I remember, oh God, decades ago, you know, there were sisters. Ann Landers and Dear Abby were sisters. And the two appeared together on this is gonna be really old, the Merv Griffin Show. Who remembers the Merv Griffin Show? You gotta be old as me to remember. Apparently the Merv Griffin Show. And they were talking about advice columnists. And it was a fascinating conversation. The lady said that, in all honesty, most of the time, they strongly suspect that when the people write the letters to us, they already know the answer. They already know what they need to do. But they're kind of hoping for an easier answer. That's what they're hoping for. And Ann Landers and Dear Abby wouldn't give them the easier answer. And they talked about how they get letters in response to their answers saying, they're horrible answers because you expect me to do things. Because most of the time, they said, people know what they have to do, they just don't want to do it. That's the problem. Well, today's gospel reading, if Ann Landers and Dear Abby were at the time of John the Baptist standing next to him by the Jordan, she would have understood what was going on completely because all these people are coming to John the Baptist. John the Baptist is telling them that the Messiah is going to come and very soon, and that you have to prepare yourself for it. So they ask him, what are we to do? But let's think this through. What should we do? He says, well, if you have, 2 cloaks, share one with one of us none. If you have extra food, share it likewise. The people already know that. They don't need John the Baptist to tell them that. They're hoping for another answer. You gotta be charitable. And sometimes people don't want to be charitable. That's the answer. Tax collectors came to be baptized and said, what should we do? And he answers, well, don't collect more than what's required. Well, that's how the tax collectors made their fortunes, by collecting more than what's required. They don't want to do that, but that's the answer. It's the right thing to do. Finally, the soldiers are telling him, what should we do? And he says, don't practice extortion or falsely accuse anyone, because in the Roman army, you were allowed to loot. It was allowed. So he says, don't do it. Just stick with your pay. The soldiers know that. In other words, they're looking for a different answer. But deep down in their hearts, they already know what the answer is. It's not going to be easy. No, it's not. We know what we have to do to prepare ourselves for the Lord. Be more charitable, be more kind, be more forgiving. The tough part is actually putting that into practice.